Thank you, Philip, for the introduction. Well, I come from the Philippines, maybe just quickly. The Philippines is 7,107 islands. We were 350 years under Spain, 100 years under the Americans, and 2 years under the Japanese, and 2 years under the British. And 21st century, the Philippines trying to recover. It's getting recovered with more real estate projects now ongoing. And if we rotate the map of the world, we're practically right in the middle. And we have a rapidly growing economy, 6% GDP. The Philippines #1 in marine biodiversity. We're now #1 in voice call centers. We're now #1 in sailors. I'd like to believe we are #1 in musicians. And we're now #2 in BPOs, the third longest coastline in the world. #4 in gold reserves, #5 in shipbuilding, #5 in all other mineral resources, and #12 in human resources with 100 million Filipinos. The size of the Philippines, 400 times the size of Singapore, 350 times of Hong Kong, 8 times Taiwan, 3 times the size of Korea. The Asian Development Bank is located there. And we have challenges that not many people talk about, but I'm not afraid to talk about it. But the challenges we have is corruption, which hopefully will have better governance, and the current president is fighting corruption right now. Criminality, or towards better peace and order, and we really have to address climate change. We have so many disasters. We're in the Pacific Ring of Fire. And if we address those challenges, HSBC and Goldman Sachs, they forecasted that by 2025, the Philippines would be in the top 20 economies in the world, number 16. And by 2050, improving. And I think we're already 100 million, but the visual is 90 million. This is the growth of Metro Manila from 1948, 1970, 1990, 2010. And this was one of my term paper at the Harvard Graduate School of Design, Manila Megalopolis. By 2020, Metro Manila will have about 20 million population. A lot of challenges and a lot of opportunities as well. 1905, when we were under the American Commonwealth, Daniel Burnham was commissioned to plan Manila. 1905, he planned Chicago 1909. And his inspiration was the canals of Manila, like the canals of Venice, and River Seine, the Pasig River in the center of Metro Manila with wide boulevards. So until 1946, we were following the Daniel Burnham planning principles. But after we became republic, 1946, we sort of copied erroneously the car-oriented Los Angeles planning. Together with the first 350 years of Spanish planning, colonial planning, we had communities that are gated, intramuros, inside the walls. And if you are not rich and powerful, you were a native, extramuros, outside the walls. I think somehow it still influenced that kind of planning, urban development we have. So this is old Philippines, and this is what it is now. This is a project that I work on. It was a polluting power plant converted into high-rise mixed-use development. We work with the SOM on this and Palafox assets. And this is the highest value appreciation in the past 15 years. The land value went up 15 times upon approval of the permits. And this is Metro Manila today. It's still urban sprawling. It's a sprawl. But there are private sector-led developments that are high-rise developments. And the challenge is they're surrounded by low-density gated communities. So you have high-rises, so there's a big imbalance between place of work and place of residence. So much so that this Makati Central Business District, the daytime population is 11 times the nighttime population. but the land value keeps going up. So this is skyline of private sector land because there's no government policy encouraging going tall. So it's the private developers who would put forward to the regulatory agencies their own plot ratios, their own FARs. And these are the tallest buildings completed in the Philippines. The highest to date is 259 meters. And these are some of our work, Palafox Associates. And we've done work in 37 countries the past 23 years. And we're trying to influence Metro Manila to go vertical because of the rapid change in population. And these are Metro Manila projects as well. And this is completed already, also in Makati, Metro Manila. This is an attempt for a green building that we won first, second, and third prize using the principles of green, sustainable. We also won together with a Singaporean firm, Palafox Associates and CPG, the new building for the Asian Development Bank, which is the groundbreaking was just a month ago. And this is in Mindanao, the second biggest island. We designed and master planned this development with, this area is flooded 8 meters high during the worst floods. So we raised the ground, the main floor by about 11.5 meters higher, and everything below would be parking. So that it's an adaptive architecture that just, if the government doesn't do well in the mitigating flooding, we might as well adapt your architecture and just let the floods go underneath. And that's one of our advocacies back home. So these are some of the green buildings we're doing elsewhere, and some of them, we put them in Manila. So basically, what we have in Manila, we need a lot of urban renewal, and we have to have a paradigm shift to go back to where we started from the Daniel Burnham urban planning principles, more balance within the place of work, place residence, more open spaces, and so on. And my office, what we're doing there is we are taking pictures of the uglification of the city, the ugliness of the city, and we put forward to the mayors, the governors, how they should look like, and I call them postcards from the future. Sometimes they're not too happy about it, but sometimes they hire us to do urban renewal in their cities. Like these pictures here of how we could improve the city. And right now this river is so polluted. So it was an unsolicited proposal, 27 kilometers long, and most of these buildings we designed them. And this river is dead right now. By presenting this picture, the Asian Development Bank is funding the rehabilitation of this river by about $1 billion over 15 years. And we took the initiative of also changing the, most of the developments here have treated the river as a back of the house, not the front door of development. And by creating this true private sector initiative again, and afterwards the government followed, introducing ferry boats and so on, really guided by the riverfront developments put forward by Daniel Burnham in 1905. But a lot of this, you have at the moment, these 27 kilometers, a lot of them you have informal settlers. We don't call them squatters, because they say there's no squatter in your own land. And as they are being relocated, we do this linear park river walk with river taxis that will interconnect Manila Bay and a huge lake down there. And doing these postcards in the future approach, we are sort of educating our own politicians to do more urban renewal, more infill development, change the paradigm from treating the waterfront as back of the house, And through urban renewal and private sector initiatives, we do this. One thing with Manila is that we don't have qualified urban planners in government agencies. It has a downside and an upside. An upside is that the developers who would hire architects and planners, we develop our own floor area ratios. And we have what we call accommodation value. Like if floor area ratio times 4, the existing plot ratio allowed, and we're able to raise it to times 14. You know, the value appreciation for every floor FAR added, it's about $700 per square meter on the land. And some developers also, they, similar to your impact fees, they charge development charge to contribute about $50 per square meter of additional floor area on top of the original FAR to develop the surrounding areas, like landscaping, even security, and so on. So it's really a private sector initiative, and the government's just dovetailing. The downside of it is the mass transit that's required. So the government is 20, 30 years behind in catching up with developments initiated by the private sector. And on the left is our first book, on the right, on the left, on your right is our second book, and we put into book form all our initiatives, planning principles, and hopefully in a discreet way, we help government leaders unlearn the obsolete practices in land use, zoning, architecture, development controls. And we'd like to live in environment-friendly cities and communities that are better connected, more accessible, walkable, bikeable, safer, better lighted, and more convenient, with cleaner mixed-income, cross-generational neighborhoods, with multi-use mixed-use development, with places to live, work, shop, and dine, learn, and worship, with healthcare, recreation, and leisure, with more 24-hour cycle activity centers. We're doing this because our CBDs in Metro Manila, the average employee spend about 1,000 hours a year in traffic. Because the CBDs, Central Business Districts, are surrounded by very, very low density gated communities. And those who can afford to have long commute with their cars, they live at around the CBDs. So what complicates it also is these long walls somehow reduces the accessibility of the CBDs. So hopefully going vertical urbanism and striking a better balance between place of work and place of residence through private sector initiative will trickle down to all the cities and municipalities in Metro Manila. Thank you very much.